afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero, like Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Halbe. Between the south, we got here V for Vodka, fighting for the Oberkommand West, Germany. The Kampfgruppe Meyer. Versus in the north, we got Vasa, fighting here for the United States of America, freedom and the American dream. Taking on the role here of the 2nd Armored Division here with Breakthrough, Luftwaffe, and Special Operations with medical kits and infantry bulletins versus Mechanized with infantry and steward bulletins. We got a heavy cooldown start here for V for Vodka as he's going in. Very motorized there versus Vasa with riflemen and rear echelons. Moving out there in larger numbers as well. So that way he's going to try and grab as much territory as he can in the early game using the rear echelons. That is generally why most players will go for a lot of rear echelons unless they got rifle company, in which case they'll also set up for flamethrowers. But otherwise, sort of larger number of rear echelons basically means you're just trying to hit the field as fast as possible, that way gain as much territory. In this case, it runs into a slight snag because the Oberkommand West is hitting with as many Kugelwagen as it can, which means he can take the territory even faster. Though, of course, it might struggle a bit in some ways in fighting unless he can concentrate them. We do have here, though, for Vasa, the Dart truck arriving there. Motorized mayhem with a 50 caliber on the back. And that could certainly challenge the Kugelwagens, in particular with the rifle squad in the back. So we got here a very motorized start from both players as they go for a lot of wheeled vehicles who take each other on. Definitely a bit rare to see this sort of beginning to a match. I mean, some Oberkommanders players will go for Kugelwagens builds, but it's a bit rare then to see them actually run straight into the Mechanized Doctrine, at least in my opinion. But obviously it's not too rare either because generally some players will go for this one as it tends to work reasonably well versus the Kugelwagens. There you go, Kugelwagen moving up. Jump out supporting here. He needs to get up close really. Otherwise at range this combination is actually a bit weak. They want to get up close and they'll deliver as much firepower as possible. But already here we can see at range it's not quite gaining as much. Now it's actually being attacked. We can see the V for Vodka actually flanking with this other Kugelwagen against the truck. And we got a 4th Kugelwagen on the way here. So V for Vodka and the Kampfgruppe Meyer is going heavily motorized here. Heavily motorized. Striking it Vasa from left, right, south, but not north because that's where Vasa is actually coming from. In the south, we got Vierstens fighting out against the Kugelwagen, the M1 carbines punching through the thin sheet metal armor of the Kugelwagen. Quick work here to repair up the Kugelwagens, ensuring that he's going for 5. Holy smokes! Alright, he counts. It looks like Eva Vodka has perhaps realized in his drunken Kugelwagen binge that, you know, he doesn't eat that many. Are you sure you're alright, Ludwig? Yeah, we just need more Kugelwagens. You have been looking a bit strange, let's say, Kugelwagens lately. Are you sure you're alright? Yeah, it's just so beautiful. So beautiful. Just look at some so smooth curves and lines. It's a bucket on wheels, Ludwig. What's wrong with you? And we've got the Dart truck moving out the straight from the Kugelwagen. Here we got more Sturmpanzers away there for V for Vodka. And suddenly the Dart truck is finding himself surrounded by Kugelwagens. It is Kugel madness. Now striking, they're using the step on it, to truly step on it, to go hunt down some of those Kugelwagens, try and catch the more isolated ones, that way destroy them before they overwhelm the Dart truck. Like a pack of motorized bucket wolves striking at the larger, slower American Dodge Bear? I don't know. Not entirely sure where to take that metaphor. Anyways, Kugelwagens, they're blasting away, getting some kills in there. Gunning down to the Yankees. We've got more Sturmpanzers now rank with V for Vodka. Though most players will then go for Breakthrough Doctrine to begin going for a lot of Panzerfusiliers, but V for Vodka's having none of that. He's going for a lot of Sturmpanzers, which basically means he's going off the meta reservation here. He is out there, but most people are not. That should be interesting here. We got, he lost one Kugelwagen. He's pushing them too far now. He's pushing them to the brink and beyond. He is plunging them straight into the meta abyss. We got a 3rd Sturmpanzer squad on the way. So again, straight into Kugelwagens and into a lot of Sturmpanzers. I mean, it's going to be a lot of firepower in some ways, but it's definitely not your usual strategy by a long shot. He has gained most of the map though. Here versus Vasa, who's probably struggling a bit with it, though he's still got his Dart truck there, operable, functional, driving for freedom. But there you go, Sturmpioneer arriving here, cutting down the Vierstens in a matter of seconds here. And that, of course, going to be the question. Is Vasa ready for this? And there you go. The echelons definitely were not, as they were cut to ribbons here. We got a large chunk of riflemen dealing with the Sturmpaniers rolling up behind the wreckage of an old Kubelwagen. The problem is there's just too many riflemen. And I think they're sort of roughly beyond the effective range of the Sturmpaniers, whose assault rifles are slightly below the other assault rifles in game in terms of sort of effective range. There's like slightly faster drop off there just in terms of balance, for balance purposes. Bonds have been secured. We got a truck on the way there for V for Vodka with the Bell Group headquarters. Will be mechanized. I mean, with this kind of strategy though, mechanized seems very much sort of on the dinner table here. Meanwhile, though, Vasa trying to seize as much territory as we can from his opponent. He's going for the captain. Vasa is taking no chance here because this kind of strategy, he's expecting a Lux and he wants to be ready for it. Sturmpioneer reinforcing. Kubelwagen sending up. We got the Sturmpaniers following in the wake of it, while the other Kubelwagens roam across the center, looking for weak American prey. Blasting away then east, Kubelwagen being struck by the Dodge truck rifleman inside. I think he tried to pull out this within the far from an anti-tank rifleman, but it didn't quite work out there fully for him. Kubelwagen falling back. Instead, we now got Sturmpaniers forming up a wall of Sturmgewehrs, cutting those Americans to nothing. Blasting away the Dodge truck, taking heavy damage. Could this be finding it for Vasa? Looks like it, and the Dodge truck does go up. No salvation, no escape. Only Deutschland. As the Sturmpaniers charge forward, a mass of trained German bodies, overwhelming of not quite so trained American infantry. Point there being secured. As a rule of thumb, any sort of pioneers in an infantry division were usually sort of the divisional elite. As a fun fact, the sort of less elite pioneers were generally sort of part more of specialist units attached here and there, like building pioneers, railroad pioneers, and so on there. But like any pioneers, sort of rule of thumb, part of a division with generally sort of tougher troops than the average infantry unit, like Fallschirmjäger pioneers, you know, basically, you know, even tougher Fallschirmjägers, Panzerpioniere, even tougher Panzergrenadiers, and so on there. So generally they were sort of part of the divisional elite. The other part would have generally also been considered the reconnaissance troops. So a little fun fact there, which tends not to get sort of mentioned very often, but that is how it ran. And there we go, we got the looks on the way here for V for Vodka, which certainly seems like the Kampfgruppe is composed partly of the Pioneer Abteilung and the Reconnaissance Abteilung, or at least elements of it, supporting the Pioniere. So we got Panzerschrecks up. He knows he's going to expect light vehicles, so he's going to support here with Panzerschrecks, the Raketen Panzerbüchse. Got Lux moving up here, like the Aufklärungspanzer. We got large massive rifle moving here from Vasa out in the open neck to cover. But again, the effective range of the Sturmpioniere does help him a bit here. This is rather a V for Vodka should consider bringing up MD-34 to help hold territory, but also just sort of make up for a bit the weaker long-range firepower of the Sturmpioneers. But that, of course, might be worth bringing up the Lux. But the Lux can't suppress, though, of course, he can do a lot of damage. And he's going for a second one. Good golly, Miss Molly. Now the Kubelwagen down just to 2, having had 4. Still aggressive map control here by Vodka, using his Kubelwagens and his Sturmpioniere, rather than being pelted with autocannon fire and forced to retreat in shame and blood. Back here, reinforcement healing going on. Do we have any weapon racks? No, we do not. So basically, his only real anti-tank weapon at the moment is the bazooka here to deal with the Lux, in fact now plural, Luxus. Or Luxi. Alright. Lux there striking at the rear-echelons out in the open. They are each targets here for the 2cm autocannon. Tearing through the Americans. And there you go. Ooh, gets a bit too close here. It strikes at the ambulance, but then anti-tank rifle does go off here, damaging the engine of the Lux. In this case, the Vasa lacks the ability to really punish it. He's bringing up an anti-tank on here, which is definitely the right response. There's going to have to cover it properly because all this is going to get swarmed and taken out in a matter of moments. So it's going to restrict here a bit how Vasa moves across the map, because he's sorting the situation. Now he makes one mistake with the anti-tank gun, it's going to be game over. Game over, man. Game over. What are we going to do now, man? Anyways, rather than being pelted by the Lux, Kubelwagen mechanisms will just enact a motorized restraint here for Vasa in terms of territory. But the Lux is just really just penning him in like a pair of heavily armed sheepdogs. So Vasa here struggling versus V for Vodka's very aggressive build, but also a bit unorthodox. Again, you generally don't see a lot of Sturmpioneers In this case, with the Sturmpioneers, though, as you can notice, that he can just go for Panzer. I mean, he doesn't have to invest into the Puma, which is what some players would do. That one, he can just commit fully to just the infantry murder plan versus Vasa. And he's following up with the Stuart here, which would certainly help a bit. Though, of course, it will find itself challenged a bit here by the Sturmpioneer. But even double Luxus can do some damage there, so autocannons can somewhat punch through the Stuart's armour. With one anti-tank, the bazooka there. I mean, it's also making sort of more mass moves if he goes that way. You can sort of anticipate how his opponent's going to move his anti-tank, or tanks there, and then sort of set up for them with the anti-tank gun. He's got the final Lux there, or Kugelwagen, not Lux, but Kugelwagen. Kugelwagens have been busted, now there's just the Luxus and the Sturmpioneer. They also got now, this is getting really interesting, he's actually gone for Luftwaffe to support this kind of build. I mean, again, most players, if they go for Kugelwagen builds, they'll go for Panzerfusilier, they'll go for a lot of those, but instead, V for Vodka here is just, he's going for the Luftwaffe. He's calling in Fallschirmjägers to challenge Vasa with the FG-42s. That is very interesting. That is definitely not the usual plan. There you go. Combined with Lux, that sort of complete collapse there. Needs to, we got the Lux on the fire. We got the Stuart moving in. Might be able to get one of them anti-tank and shoots. And the Lux goes up in flames. We got Sturmpioneers there blocking there with Panzerix. As the Lux there falls back rapidly, the Sturmpioneer are counter-attacking. They need to be careful here. Negative cover, Stuart, Rifleman. Captain there with the Thompson and the bazooka there. Could cause a bit of problem. Then we got that Megan to the crater there on the road. Rifle falling back. Too much Sturmgewehr fire. They drop like flies. Meanwhile, Fallschirmjägers, they continue their harassment job, piling up behind Vasa's lines, wiping out a rifle squad, cutting off the points here, just increasing the pressure unmentionably on Vasa. I mean, he's got a really aggressive strategy here. Though, of course, it is displaying some weaknesses, and I really do think you should consider some support weapons, like just a few machine guns, or maybe like Kernef or something there. The machine guns will at least allow us to more better, you know, hold the territory, things going back. Oh, now we got Valiant Assault. Hello! A very rarely utilised ability. It's actually pretty good if you know how to use it. It's increased the firepower and the speed there, and they can just do a lot of damage up close there, for example. The Sturmpioneers are doing a lot of damage. Got a second Fallschirmjäger squad out. He's going for a lot of elite infantry. In fact, we have yet to see a single Volksgrenadier from V for Vodka. That is actually unusual, considering how most Oberkommanders players rely only on Volksgrenadiers, more or less, whereas V for Vodka is now currently going heavy in on Sturmpioneers and Fallschirmjägers. So, I mean, this is very much a heavy departure in some ways from the usual Oberkommanders meta. I mean, it looks as though are very much sort of, you know, an anchor point into it. I mean, he's, you know, going off the track. He's not, you know, heading into space in a made-up spacesuit. It says, Mummy's proudest little astronaut. BR's being secure. That's going to further help here. And that will definitely punish V for Vodka. They will not bring out any machine gun to the Fallschirmjägers. Will help the Sturmpioneers again, due to the way their sort of Sturmgewehrs work, will be in a slightly more tricky situation. That's really where he needs the machine gun. That's sort of slightly, you know, increase the odds of them surviving and sort of fighting more efficiently most of the time. And again, it's not like they're completely, you know, bent over, but they're going to have to, you know, try and get closer without getting shot too much, and that's a lot harder there with the BARs flying at them as well. Panzerfaust and the Stuart. And he's there, we got the counter-attack going in there. Vasa's one from pushing up there. Sturmpioneer repelled. Stuart with a damaged engine. And we got the M1 there moving ahead. Moving towards us, they're advancing bravely, and we got a truck sitting up. That's probably going to spare punted quarters for V for Vodka. And the Kampfgruppe as the second armoured here is finding itself under increasingly, well, slightly decreasing pressure actually, now that I think about it. He's actually now slowly pushing back V for Vodka. He's got one of the Luxus and he's getting BARs now, which, as I mentioned before, will make it harder for the Sturmpioneers to fight efficiently. And we also hear the particular weakness of the Sturmpioneers to an extent. They do tend to veterans up a lot slower than other infantry, despite, you know, again, having fought quite well and aggressively. They're not quite showing the same level of veteran you'd expect from that sort of level of fighting there. Of course, the Panzerix will help with that and further increase their lethality. Looks like taking a few hits, veteran T2, and they just need to retreat. They're negative cover. There's just too many Americans with the BRs, and there you go. That's going to be a wipe. So, Now Vasa is really beginning to look strong here with the advent of the Browning automatic rifle to the battlefield, leaving Vasa a bit more woefully undergunned, in particular on a map with a lot of negative cover. We got here a Luftwaffe strike here, airborne assault. I mean, the Luftwaffe have more or less been banned from actually doing any sort of large-scale Fallschirmjäger insertion, but they still do smaller-scale ones here and there. But there you go, Fallschirmjäger striking at the anti-tank gun. FT-42s blazing away the anti-tank gun crew, desperately trying to hold the anti-tank gun to safety, but there is no safety. Not against the Fallschirmjäger of the Kampfgruppe Meyer. So we got 3 Fallschirmjäger squads, 2 Sturmpanies on the looks versus 3 Waffen, a captain, 3 echelons, and a steward. And that looks has seen better days, so he needs to fall back there for some repairs. We got the Schwerpanzer quarters up there, he can soon go for a Panzer IV, and that way begin pressuring Vasa and his infantry more directly. There's still an MG-34 here and there, would I think do a great deal there for Vodka. Stuart moving up there, halfway to Veterans 2. Vasa's going to need some take up soon enough. Eventually, but he probably need to get out an anti-tank gun number 2 first. But there you go, good push into these, regaining the few point there. Victory points wise, he's also falling behind Vodka, who is closing in there fast on the Panzers to support further offensive action here versus the Americans. There you go, charge into the Rifleman, supported by the Steward. Thrown a bit off, trying to launch a flank again, you know, something bigger here, catching off the Americans off guard, maybe rushing the anti-tank and then stealing it. As Vasa's a bit so slow to interact with it because he doesn't know what's going on. Instead of going there for any armor fast, he's going for the truck, so he's planning a King Tiger already. That would be awfully ambitious in my opinion. Actually, it would be rather greedy. And this greed could bite him in the arse. And meanwhile though, Vasa's going for the Pack Howitzer. Pretty good choices since it's actually very good versus infantry. Oh, his second looks goes down. Big loss there for Vodka. Second looks is down. And he's not destroying it. He's actually trying to steal it. Though, in this case, what he should do is actually pop out the vehicle crew, then have them critical repair the look so they actually can get away in speed. Instead, they're trying to drive away. It looks for the heavily damaged engine near German territory. And Vodka's just going to spot it, he's going to cook it up, and then he's going to lost a Veterans 1 rifle squad and the BAR. That was a bit of a mistake there by Vasa. Again, could have just popped it up, quickly done the emergency repairs, fixing up the engine, and we just taken off with it immediately. But well, he might have had his worries for not doing it, his reasons. Vasa, the quick to replace the lost rifleman. Pack out to fire open the Fallschirmjägers. Semi-final with the gun. Technically, though, they were only really part of mountain infantry divisions and airborne divisions. Sturmpioneer advancing against the Steward, pressing up the eastern side here. And there you go, Belgov headquarters up, heals his troops, reinforces them. I do think it would have benefited from just getting up Panzer IV as fast as possible here. Fallschirmjägers there, supported by Sturmpioneer in the south, of both the units there are getting awfully depleted here versus Vasa. Stuart Lights in there breaching the east, and now we also got finally some movement in the west. I mean, he's finally feeling confident there. He doesn't have to focus it all up so hard, in particular with the loss of the Luxus. He can then move his infantry freely about and begin hitting the map at large, further constraining now Vodka, who has been doing that for more or less most of the fight by now. But there you go, in a few moments there, he can go for the Panzer IV now. He can go for the Panzer IV, yet he isn't. Might be he's paying attention to other things. He's got a lot of troops reinforced. Not. Rifling flanked here by 2 Fallschirmjäger squads. 8 FT-42s. Still no sign of the Panzer IV there for Vodka. Still no sign of the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Backbone of the Panzerwaffe. Instead, he's going for Jagdpanzer. Interesting choice. Curious, but interesting in some ways. Definitely not what I'd go for here. Prioritise the Panzer IV, but he's going for it. He's going for it. I wonder what that means. Granted, I mean, again, V for Vodka is just, you know, not playing it like how most would be playing it at the moment, so there's that, but it still feels a bit weird. Jump as I push back. He really, though, should go for some machine guns. I do feel that's larger lacking here by V for Vodka. One, I'm having a bit of a harder time overlooking and excusing. But there you go, another airborne assault. You can also really see sort of the effect of it. I mean, it's make Vasa now once it looks as they've gone for Vasa to grab territory, airborne assault on the centre. Jump is almost right to hit with the Stuart light tank, very close to fixing his feet. Some more air support here to cover the centre. As the Fallschirmjäger strike like a lightning bolt. There you go, under fire from the pack house. A nasty bit of a hit there. Stuart gets an even better hit, wiping half the unit. But we got the Jagdpanzer out here with its high velocity 75mm gun, same as on the Panther, though without the muzzle brake, because that thing on the Jagdpanzer kicked up too much dirt, which basically A, blocked their own line of sight, but also B, gave away the position to the enemy. So pretty much all Jagdpanzer crews would remove the muzzle brake on the gun. There's a fun little fact there. Fallschirmjäger's launching an assault here. Bit of a slight movement into these, but with this, he's actually opened up his own. Things now being more aggressive because now Vasa lacks a light tank to constrain him. Vasa himself is taking up though. And of course, for now, the Jagdpanzer, all they can do is just snipe at the infantry, which is not very good at. Technically, the Jagdpanzer had an MG42 in its hull, right next to the gun. In fact, that bit of a cone there, you can see there is basically where the MG42 is supposed to be jutting up. But for some reason, Relic decided against it. Another fun fact, the Jagdpanzer was actually known as Guderian Stack because, well, Guderian didn't want it. It was a really, in many ways, clumsy and awkward tank destroyer. Since the gun was basically too much for the thing to handle, actually. Some fun details there. Fun details there. Overall, what Guderian wanted was not the Jagdpanzer. What he wanted was just a Stuart being available to the Panzerwaffe, which it wasn't. Because it wasn't within his jurisdiction. Ultimately, though, he managed to hijack an attempt at making an assault gun out of the Czechoslovakian Panzer 38T, at which point, you know, the Hetzer became a tank destroyer. Not because in any way it was a tank destroyer, it was just a designation. It was actually an assault gun by pretty much every other intent. But because if it was designated as an assault gun, it would be beyond his, you know, jurisdiction and what it means he would do anything with it, so he basically had it designated as a tank destroyer just for that. And that's sort of more what he actually wanted compared to this one. Fun side note. Got Sturmpires moving up there in the east. Fallschirmjäger. He's got a lot of Fallschirmjäger. He's got 4 Fallschirmjäger squads. That's actually some time since we've seen that, and he's blobbing them up here. He's definitely blobbing up. They're not the most flexible or nimble move there by V for Vodka. He's just relying on raw firepower, which of course would be great then if Vasa had some 50 caliber machine guns, but neither player is so far bringing up machine guns. Though Vasa in this case could then go for a fighting position at the very least. Packhouse, though, is also a good way of maybe potentially punishing such a blob. Sherman could also help it, of course, the Jagdpanzer covering his Fallschirmjäger blob, will of course cause him some headaches. So V for Vodka there, slowly moving back across the map here against Vasa. Reinforcing, setting out, lots of Fallschirmjäger. Yeah, so far his force is more or less composed of only sort of elite troops, that is Sturmpioneers and Fallschirmjägers. Not a single Volksgrenadier in sight. Another valiant assault here, which certainly only makes his Fallschirmjäger more imposing, allows him to sprint. As you can note, they of course also increase their accuracy. And there you go, he's just going forward. Blow up assault there, using valiant assault. Allowing him to shred infinite amount of moments. They really should spend that a bit more considering there's a pack out firing at them. But you can notice there again, they do a lot of damage very fast, particularly the more veteran ones. And there you go, he continues upwards here. We can see that Vasa suddenly forced to, you know, abandon his fort point here as the Fallschirmjäger just charge ahead, relentlessly hounding the Yankees. But there you go, Sherman fires back here. And there you go, suppressive fire here from the defensive position there right at the edge of his base. Finally causing Vasa Vodka there to fall back with his Fallschirmjäger horde. He's also hitting all the victory points just to increase the pressure there on Vasa. Also because he's not actually falling behind Vasa. Sturmpioneer there, getting close to victory field, but they're also finally forced back. Jagdpanzer shoots. It's not very good versus infantry. Fixing up here, back here, healing reinforcement going on there for Vasa Vodka. Grabbing points there. He could go for a Panther 4. He could, of course, also, as opposed to just try and play for a King Tiger now. Would be awfully greedy. Still, at the very least, I really do feel like he should go for Machine Gunner 2. Since, again, it would make it a bit easier for him to hold territory, though the pack howitzer will make it a bit harder for him to use them efficiently, but he can always just shift the machine gun from time to time to make it harder for the pack howitzer than to land an actual hit. Vasa following up here with the second anti-tank gun to support his infantry better here. And, of course, make it hard for Vasa Vodka to use any armour. Sherman with the 50 caliber there. Big Fallschirmjäger force moving out here for the camp from my Jagdpanzer moving up support, but in the spot there with the rifleman. And another valiant assault here. Definitely nice to see the ability utilised, and it's a pretty good one. It's I think very much overlooked, but then again that's mostly because most people nowadays don't use the Luftwaffe Doctrine at all. So obviously, even if you do go for it, the valiant assault then of course just gets further overlooked because most people tend not to use abilities like this. They're generally not recommended for using with blobbing, but still be used as catching an opponent off guard to do some serious damage, and of course just moving your entire force about aggressively. In this case, he used an active flank the rifleman here with his blob, catching the retreat path and pretty much forcing it to retreat because Vasa then tries to fight out and then loses, then has to retreat. There's a very high likelihood of being wiped here, so that was actually a pretty good flank there of Vasa Vodka. You just could do that a bit more often without necessarily blobbing. And to take the point back, the Sturmpioneer is coming up here. Veteran free to get access to stun grenades now. Captain forced away there halfway to the veteran before. In fact, Fallschirmjägers though suffering critical loss there to the Sherman. It's 50 caliber machine gun and high artillery rounds causing quite a bit of harm. Trying to clear out the anti-tank gun wall here. That Vasa has presented. There you go. We got a Gibraltar lightning off. Bundle grenade. Damages the ambulance a bit, but beyond that, no massive impact there on Vasa and the second armoured. Quick retreat there towards the base here for Vasa Vodka. Many Fallschirmjägers on the run. Sherman there under fire from the Jagdpanzer. And there you go, anti-tank guns opening up there on the Jagdpanzer as well. Penetrating hit. Also, fun fact about Fallschirmjägers, by 1944-45, that is late 1944, they were German armies raising a lot of Fallschirmjäger divisions, which were essentially Fallschirmjägers only in name. Like, for example, in Arnhem, there's like probably at least half of the Fallschirmjäger divisions, if not more, were just infantry divisions with the Fallschirmjäger name attached to them. They might have had high morale and some nice looking Fallschirmjäger equipment, but in terms of actual combat ability, they were nowhere near them. That was certainly something that increased as the war went on, like increasingly larger number of Fallschirmjäger armies. But I mean, in terms of combat ability, they'd be probably close to Volksgunner divisions. So that's a little fun note there about the Fallschirmjägers. They would also not even be able to get access to stuff like FD-42. So even the more sort of your unique Fallschirmjäger helmet, they'd have to make do with the usual Stahlhelms with just the Luftwaffe stamp on them. Captain there pushed back, got a Sherman moving ahead. Go, nice shot. Doesn't get anyone killed though, but it still forces Vasa Vodka to retreat his forces because there's no anti-tank support, and he keeps bunching them up there. Again, he's relying a bit much than just raw force, and Vasa's getting good at actually dealing with it. He's adjusted here to Vasa Vodka's tactics, and that makes it hard for him to do anything. You can see there he's further adapting by setting up fighting positions. That way, if Vasa Vodka just rushes in a blob there, he can just sort of slightly fall back and then stop them. Basically suppress the entire lot. So Vasa is definitely adapting and overcoming here Vasa Vodka's tactics. So he's going for the King Tiger now opposite. So V for Vodka, they can do some serious harm with it though. He can probably win the fight. He delivers some critical damage, but if he maxes it up here, or just Vasa manages to adapt in time, it's going to be a bit harder here. And of course, double anti-tank guns can make that harder for the King Tiger. Because things to remember, keep in mind about the American anti-tank gun is it only has slightly less penetration than other anti-tank guns, but it has twice the rate of fire, which you then combine with the armor piercing rounds, allowing the anti-tanks then to do a ton of damage to most even heavy tanks. It becomes in fact really good at dealing with most armor. Get a bunch of them and you can actually do a lot of damage to tanks very fast. So we can see a King Tiger moving ahead. We got the anti-tank that rates its fire into its flank. Yak Panzer almost down. Shots fired, first bouncing off. No one piercing rounds yet, but we do have to take aim. There you go, one shot penetrates. And there you go, now both popping up there. And there you go, one spotting, penetrating hit. There we go, down to half health now in a matter of moments. And one anti-tank and that veteran to 2 already. Trying to get that Yak Panther with the King Tiger's covering nicely, though it is itself heavily damaged. Can it get a good hit down the retreating Americans? It cannot. Sturmpioneers rushing in. We got another valiant assault here once more, supporting a massive horde assault here by V for Vodka using incredibly expensive German infantry. You'd think he was playing with Volksgrenadiers. And there you go, straight into the fighting position, halting the entire horde here. Pinging himself off nicely there for Vasa. Preparing the King Tiger a bit awfully close to the front line, risky there by V for Vodka. In this case, plays off versus Vasa's rifleman, but now risk getting there, go hit with an tank rifle grenade, damaging the engine of the Königstiger, even as it blasts apart American infantry. Got a Jackson following up there for Vasa to help deal with the King Tiger. Very good response there. Do we have repair pioneers up? We do not. Could actually consider that. It's also got quite a bit of manpower, so machine guns would be a pretty good choice, I think, for V for Vodka. 2 MG-34s would take him very far here versus Vasa, who's sending his Shem straight hit as the King Tiger, direct hit there from the 88mm high velocity gun. Same gun was also used on the Elephant, the Nashorn, and the Yak Panther. Note that all those were tank destroyers. Of varying success. The most successful tank destroyers were the Nashorn and the Yak Panther. The Elephant was less successful in some ways. And there you go, Captain charging straight to the Fallschirmjäger, a bit foolhardy there by Vasa. There you go, bomb grenade off. Nice hit there. But easily forced off in there. And there you go, King Tiger to go, Yak Panther ready to support here with its gun. Vasa is remaining in good control of the map here. He's exerting his influence, I think, very creatively. Oh, something went flying, and we got double orbital down for V Vodka there. He's going all in on elite infantry, but there's still not a single MG-34 in sight though, and I really wish he'd go for that one, I think. There you go, King Tiger advances, shoots, and decimates the Americans, leaving them bloodied and broken. And he's there, Rierson pushed back by Fallschirmjäger, supported by the Yak Panzer. In the centre of the anti-tank guns forming a nice frontage there. There's the King Tiger, making it hard for V Vodka to pull through. Of course, a good flank could do the trick, but you can see that he's just laying down fighting position. The interesting enough, this one is a very exposed flank. Still, King Tiger being hunted down by the tank destroyer and the anti-tank guns. So V for Vodka is forced to fall back with the Königstiger. First orbital team out here. LMG-34 on the way for them, so he's going to have 4 Fallschirmjägers, 2 Sturmpioneers, and 2 Obersoldaten. That is probably the most elite infantry I'm seen ever from an Oberkommando West player. Ever. That is nuts. They're impressively nuts. Impressively nuts. In fact, it's quite impressive he's not suffering from a huge manpower bleed from it. But we can see that though, Vasa is just setting up to counter it. I mean, he's increasingly figuring out here how V for Vodka is operating, and he's pretty much setting up for hard countering with all these fighting positions. So pretty much when V for Vodka tries to make a storm rush at him, he can just lock it down with them fighting positions. That's a pretty good use of them there by Vasa, to be honest. That is a very good use of them. Very good read on his opponent. Very good read. 2 thumbs up there. King Tiger moving in, spots the Americans. Shoots, gaining veterans 1 there. Big Fudge make a push here to tank us there, but covered by fighting positions. So many fighting positions. Vodka, they're just rushing straight ahead into Sherman and machine gun fire. Trying to get those anti-tank guns, but he just can't get there now, can he? And without a smoke screen so he can use offensively, he also lacks the ability to set up for that. So he needs to flank there. He actually needs to seriously flank Vasa and Vodka. While initially having done some of that, increasingly seems very reluctant towards flanking his opponent. He's now committing his Jagdpanzer frontal assault against all these anti-tank guns and the Jackson. Definitely not the best move. It looks like the Jagdpanzer is going to go down here. Anti-tank guns are flying away, and there we go. Cooks it up. He's pushing up with his King Tiger though. Vodka pushing his luck way beyond its boundaries. Way beyond its boundaries. Several hits there. Rifleman getting plastered with heavy fire, murdered and gutted.
They got wiped out.
Sherman on the way there for Vasa, just bringing up more armor, even as Vodka is losing his armor. So hard work being committed there to the King Tiger. Enforcing healing. 2 orbital Laden squads, 3 Fallschmägers, 2 Sturm Pioneers. Definitely not your average orbital commander those players in that sense, but I think he's overestimating their ability to just rush things from head on and not needing to flank, and that is very much giving Vasa some very good opportunities to counter sort of Vodka strategy here. Because ultimately it ends up not being much of a strategy if he just uses his all of his elite troops very unwise. And Nego just charges straight ahead here, right into a lot of anti-tank guns and a tank destroyer. Generally just don't do that. And he flanked, you know, done something more clever than that. He probably could have done a lot more damage to Vasa than just attacking head on. I mean, he got one anti-tank gun, but it is one Vasa can easily recruit. Now, most of him again getting pinned down. His King Tiger's going to be out of the fight for several minutes until he gets repaired. So there are definite issues here with Vodka's tactics. There's Vasa is just handling it, I think, very intelligently and countering it very solidly now. And this is very much a player who has seen through Vodka's bag of tricks and realizes it's actually a bag of cheese. And then he has to wonder to himself, who carries around a bag of cheese? Vodka carries around a bag of cheese. So there you go, King Tiger almost good to go. Also, Veteran 2, there we go. That definitely helps a lot. They're greater accuracy and greater turret rotation. Of course, the actual King Tiger had a very great turret rotation, turning the entire thing around in a matter of seconds. So that was actually a great advantage with the King Tiger. It was also pretty mobile, in fact, I think roughly the same speed as a Sherman tank. That's a fun fact. Shots fired. Smoke down.
They have only 75 points remaining.
Sherman sending out here. Using smoke that to cover the center victory point and then grab is not a bad idea. Another hit there by the Königstiger, sort of. Got the Sherman coming up the western flank. They might be trying to sort of outmaneuver the King Tiger, maybe? Hard to say what Vasa's planning versus Vodka. So Vodka's making it a bit too obvious what he's trying to do here, and that's also making it a bit easier for Vasa than to counter it. If he's trying to maybe some diversionary attacks in the west, though, he's going to need some armor to support that. Panther would be a pretty good choice. Predator 4 or Jagdpanzer here, although he just needs some support his influence to make a diversionary push here, drawing away some forces, and then he could launch a flank assault through here, catching off the rest of his forces there off guard. What he shouldn't do, though, is just keep focusing on the centre, in which case Vodka might be falling into Stalingrad Syndrome, then a very expensive case of the Stalingrad Syndrome is committing again Germany's finest infantry. Again and again. Got the Sherms flanking up there, King Tiger turning about there with its 28 kills to its name. Sherms there bunched up, good hit, even the splash damage. Damage is one fact, they take equal damage, that's how close they're bunched up. But there you go, anti-tank attack going in for the King Tiger taking heavy damage here as the American anti-tank gunners just blast through the thick armour. Damn its engine. Storm Park goes back from here. They did something, but ultimately there's not sufficient force to really pull anything off of a serious matter there versus Vasa. Well, he can go for a Panther now. Instead he goes for another Jagdpanzer. That can work as well. It does have the range, but considering though what is required here, I think, to really pull off a victory versus Vasa, I think the Jagdpanzers are not the best choice. We'll have to see here, but he's quickly running out of victory points compared to Vasa. In the centre we got the elite infantry launching another assault here. Single rifle squad, they're holding off the entire force with a bit of smoke preventing them from firing at the Yankees. Ah, why do we always have to use smoke? Why can't we get any smoke? Well, you know, Hermann Göring spent it all at a party last Thursday. Ah, scheiße, not again. Why do you always get to use it at parties? Well, he likes smoke at his parties. He likes to impress his guests. Yeah, I get that, but why does he have to use military-grade smoke grenades for that? I don't know. There you go. Second Jagdpanzer out for Viva Vodka. He's leading for this swarming the Americans in the east, taking hits from the Sherman. King Tiger almost good to go there. Halfway to veterans. If he even get it out, certainly do a bit for him, I suppose. It doesn't exactly help with most of the combat. It's just Spearhead can provide some benefits. It's really Veteran 4 and Veteran 5 once, in particular Veteran 5 with that increased rate of 5 for the Königstiger, but it's going to take him ages to get them. There you go, another smoke screen here. In this case, I think he's basically trying to cut off any support that might be waiting about here. That's actually a good move. That is some good foresight there by Vasa. Smoke, assuming there's something there waiting for his tanks, which they end something, but not right away. It's a good move there by Vasa. King Tiger, they're blitzing, flanking, but there you go, get engaged with the Jackson, and Saints also opening up the King Tiger's flank. There you go, great, and the Sherman almost taking it out there. More hits on the King Tiger side armor. Need to fall back. Penetrating hit in the front. We got Orbs on flash moving hit. We got rifle fire there. And to tank grenades. Taking out the engine of the Panzer of the King Tiger. Rifle pushed back. Jagdpanzer moving ahead here. Fallschirmjägers. Orbs on continuing hit. They're clearing out the anti-tank enormous with machine gun fire. Jagdpanzer, they're taking heavy damage from all the anti-tank guns. And the Jacks need to fall back. We got a valiant assault there. But still, suppression stops them in their tracks. Keep forgetting. He keeps forgetting. Oh, he's getting a bit lucky there with that. Jagdpanzer punching off shot. There you go. Gets the Jackson, but at the cost of his Jagdpanzer, which actually costs more than the Jackson, so not really worth it. I mean, the bigger problem, to be honest, at this point is the anti-tank gun, which is a lot harder for the King Tiger to easily clear out. Another Jackson win there for Vasa. He's down to 24 victory points. The Kampfgruppe seems to have putted out here, despite an infusion of some of Germany's finest soldiers. The Fallschirmjägers, the Obersoldaten, the Sturmpioneers. Fallschirmjägers, they're flanking very, very close to Veteran 5. Incredibly close. King Tiger's heading out there. Shoots, gets good in the rifleman. Troops are pressed, and shoots. Again, going there for the Sherman. Probably is going to get another damaging because King Tiger fully repaired up. We got the anti-tank sitting up. Shots fired. Sturmpioneers following up. He's supporting the King Tiger. Very close to Veteran 3, but he's taking so much damage. There we go. Both anti-tanks now switching over to the Sabo rounds there. Quickly taking down to very little health there. Very little health. In fact, it's about to go down there. Troops moving up. They need to move up something that's laid on the smoke in front. We got the Sherman moving ahead there. Other Sherman moving in. King Tiger shoots. Need to keep pulling back. Blitz. Blitz. And there you go. Almost got it. Keep. No, don't move it ahead. Don't move it ahead. He's getting greedy. Ah. Then again, he has to. He's down to 10 points. And there you go. Anti-tank guns knock out the King Tiger. And with this, Vodka's chance of victory are now pretty much gone. Because now the tanks can go pretty much what they want against Vodka and Murder's Infantry. There we go. V for Vodka's renders a loss here for the Kampfgruppe Maya, forced back. A brutal fight here, attrition, aggressive starts from both players, but ultimately V for Vodka just committed to blob tactics and, well, no real flanking. Overall making easy for V for Maya, so then to counter it with fighting positions and just, you know, slight flanks here and there. So overall, well played by Vasa. Rough start there, very rough start, handing out a pretty nasty German storm, slowly realising what his opponent doing, seeing through his tactics and then setting up good counters for them. slowly but surely weighing down Vodka, who just refused to adapt and change tactics. I mean, just considering maybe he should have gone for the machine gun at some point to make it easy for him to hold ground. So a lot of mistakes I feel for Vodka as the game pressed on. I mean, again, unique strategy for sure, and initially well done, but the problem was he just refused to flank entirely, and that proved amongst, I think, one of his biggest mistakes there versus Vasa. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did want to subscribe to your friends, share it with everyone, or donate, pledge on Patreon. Links in the video description for that. Big thanks, of course, to all my Patreon supporters who do support me. You're all very much allowing me to keep doing this day after day. This is Imperial Lane signing off. See you all tomorrow for another signing episode. Bye.